Welcome back to Ask Sloan, everybody.
Sponsored by Zentavos. Keep more of your money.
And we're back with Mike Norng, CEO, operator of Automotive Film Specialists and Make More Money and Auto Film Mastery. And how many businesses do you have?
8.
8.
We're about to have 9. We got another shop about to open right around the corner from here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, that's right. Okay. So multiple locations. All right. So we're going to take you back. It's 2005. Mike starts a car wash with a buddy, and it goes nowhere. Right. And then you moved over to Midtown. When was that? 2013?
2009.
2009 moves over to Midtown.
Well, that was our second location.
So you had both locations at that time.
we had all of them.
Well, you sold Upper Kirby? What happened?
So I sold it in 2016, and everybody asked me why I sold it. I said, man, it made good money, but it couldn't support a management team, and it was something I always have to be there. Yeah. It was a very small operation. We only could wash one car at a time. One car at a time.
Okay.
So we move on to something bigger, and it could support a management staff. Like, when if something is small, you can't really, there's an owner-operator more situation at that first location. Which, I mean, you got to start somewhere.
So what's it like running 8 businesses, now going to be 9?
I love it.
Is it like super stressful or?
No, I look forward to coming into work, each location. So all the film specialists have 3 locations right now, and we're about to have a 4th location. And we have different LLC for all those locations. Everybody asks me why. I mean, Sloan, tell them why.
Yeah. Okay, so you're diving right into structure. So look, when you first start your first business, and if you're going to have multiple locations, okay, this is something you want to think about from the beginning. Okay, now keep in mind you can adapt your structure as you go. So we talked about in the last episode when you don't want to do stage 4 things when you're in stage 1. Okay, so there's a complex architecture of structure where you have a holding company, you have an operating company, you have a management company. Okay, and then you can develop additional operating companies off of that structure. Okay, and so what Mike has is he's got a separate LLC for each location. Okay, and that does a couple of things. Okay, number 1, it's asset protection. Okay, number 2, if he wants to sell one of those locations, it's really easy to say, hey, here's the numbers for this location. This is what it's doing. Okay, and he can just sell that, and it doesn't affect the rest of his piece. Okay. Additionally, as long as his contracts are written properly, then if someone at one location sues because the roof falls on their car and it destroys it, well, then only that location is affected by that lawsuit. Okay, this is asset protection. The other locations aren't subject to that lawsuit, and so they won't have any liability, and that's how you maintain your empire if you're going to build an empire. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's the reason why we did that. We wanted to protect, everything that we own, the liability that we have, plus all the location of multi-7-figure operation. And, the last thing I want to do if somebody got hurt or, there's a damage that's, just like we just couldn't afford, that location will be punished, and I don't know, maybe worst thing can happen is, it lose all its money, maybe go out of business, but it won't affect the other location. That's the last thing I want to do. Just imagine if we have all 4 stores connected with the same LLC, and they'll take all the money from all the stores.
They'll take all the money from all the stores. Yes. And the reason why you have to pay attention to this, and it's super important to have the right margins, okay? Because when you do this, you've got to have separate sets of books, okay? So accounting costs a little bit more, okay? You got to have separate tax returns, okay? So tax preparation costs a little bit more.
Sloan charges more.
You got to have separate insurance policies, okay?
Yeah.
So insurance is going to cost you a little bit more, okay?
Yeah.
And so each location is going to have its own ecosystem, okay? And that's what protects it from all the ecosystems of the rest. If you've got several LLCs, but you only have one bank account, well, you have now pierced that veil and you no longer have that protection. Okay. And so it costs more money to operate this way, but that extra cost is saving you money if and when there's a problem.
I mean, but if you're gonna have multiple locations, usually the first location make money, and you expect the second location to make money,
And
and
sometimes
the
it
third.
doesn't.
So yeah, so I mean,
Did that happen to you? Did you have a second location that didn't make money?
we did. I mean,
You had to shut it down?
we had a location that did not make money, and we did shut it down. I'm gonna tell you why. 'Cause people ask me this because you always want to know. But you don't want to look at me and be like, man, that man's successful. That man, I have more failures than success. I probably failed 9 out of 10 times, and it only take that one time. So we had a location, and it didn't do good, and I always came there, and I know why. Looking back, because at that time I couldn't, I my perspective and seeing everything was different. So if I was to do a new location, and which we do all the time now, I would put my best guy at that new location, even though it don't generate as much business as the location that you currently have. And the reason why I say that is because you're gonna have problem and issue and stuff with a new location because everybody's trying to get used to it. You're gonna have a different demographic of clients, your installer. The last thing you want to do is put somebody new because they don't know how to solve problems. But then if I put my most experienced guy at that location, they already been through everything. They'd be like, hey, this is what we do, this is what Mike would do, this is what we're gonna do when this happened. And that's why it'll run smoothly. Because the last thing you want to do is give your clients, your customer a bad experience. That's when they don't come back, and that's the same thing as, just say you're opening another, I don't know, just say Shipley Donut, a new one, and this might be your 10th, 12th location. Those guys already know. They'll put their best guy right there. But, if that's your first time opening a second location or additional location, just remember the advice I give to you, because the last thing you want to do is try to, save money and put, somebody new that you just train for like a month or 2, 3 months. That's the worst thing you're going to do, because you want that location to run smoothly. Because guess what happened when you put new guys in there? You, as the owner or manager, will get a bunch of phone calls, and you'll be dealing with a mess that you have to go back and sit there and fix. And that's what we learned by having multiple locations. And
So you train a team at your current location, and then you send your trainers,
my best guys,
to the new location.
I send my best guys.
And do they stay there, or do they train the new? Do they just make it happen until it gets to a certain point and train the new staff, and then they go back, or do they open another location?
Well, we rotate them, and the reason why we'll keep the new guys at the place, and we'll keep them at the north location, which is our big location, is because I'm always there. Mike Vu is always there. My main manager is always there. Like,
so that's your training.
Yeah, like to make it's harder to make a mistake there because we're always there to help you.
Gotcha.
Because we have the process, procedure, and policy there that your mistake is very minimum. And plus we could correct it real easily.
Yeah.
And it's nothing. But then the last thing you want to do is put a bunch of new people at a new place, new manager, new PPF installer, new window tinner, new sales guy. I mean, that's you're calling for a disaster.
So I think this is the absolute most difficult thing for small business owners is training. Is developing, and we talked about this in our What's in the Cup episode, right? You said this was the hardest thing for you to overcome, which is building a good team, right? And like, if you're going to have multiple locations and you're going to grow to multi-million dollars and you're going to scale and you're going to do those things, you cannot do that unless you have developed systems that you can train. And then like, how many people do you go through? Like, when you hire somebody, like, how many people have you had to let go over the last 10 years when you hire them? Like, you hire them and you train them. Do you let them go pretty quickly, or have you been really successful at like figuring out how to hire the right people and develop talent, or have you lost some people along the way? Like, talk to us about the team.
So in order to be good at hiring or good at building a team, you got to be bad at it first. You got to learn from your mistake. So our hiring process is almost bulletproof. We have a hiring scorecard. We ask the right question. There's question you need to ask. Like, do you have a reliable transportation? How long do it take you to get to work? I mean, we live in Houston. Like, it could take you over an hour, hour and a half to get to work. So I want somebody that live close, that live nearby, that don't have to be in traffic, depending on their condition. I want somebody a little bit younger so we could trade, you know, somebody that's in their mid 30s or 40s. They already built habits. You know how hard it is to break habits. So we just rather not hire somebody that's at that age. Plus, this is, installer or more physical at a younger age. But the most important question I ask, and this is the question that make or break the interview, how much do you have to make to pay your personal bill? Your personal bill, not going out to hang out, drink, or whatever. How much do you have to make? If they tell me $6,000, $7,000 and they're like 21 years old, I'm not hiring them. They made a lot of financial mistake. And if you do hire them, that's your fault because they're gonna be asking you, hey, can I borrow money? I need to take off early because I got a second job. Or they just might quit, but you're gonna go through issue and you need to know that, especially trying to build a team. You know, our company is not like McDonald's, it's not an entry level job, where they just go through people. It's normal for them to collect, 100, 200 application a month. We don't go through that. So we actually our hiring process is a lot slower. Our training process is 3 months. And that's what we have to go through. In the training process, we're not like focusing on training you how to do the project. We're focusing if you come in early, if you listen to the team, if you follow the company process, procedure, and policy, that's what we're going after. If you believe in our vision and we can take you to another level, because I want to hire somebody for 10 years. I want to be able to help them in life. All the mistake I made, I want to make sure they don't make those mistakes.
For
And
sure.
people can feel that. We're like,
Yeah.
that's a good person. You know what? I want to learn from him. I want to stay here. I believe what he's doing. That's
Man, y'all, he's dropping bombs right now, y'all. Okay, so when you're hiring people, he's saying you need to pay attention to a few things. Number one, what are their habits? Number two, what is their financial management skills? Right? Like, who is this person and the character that they have? Right? I think a lot of times we focus on tasks. Right? Can you
Mhm.
install? Right? Okay.
People are just trying to hire
Or can
somebody.
you
Just
sell? They're trying to hire somebody that can do something.
I
Okay,
know,
but
but if they just hire people, they just trading money. Guess what happened when you trade money with somebody? That if your relationship is built on trading money because you just want to hire somebody so they can make you money. Well, if somebody paying more money, they're gonna leave.
they're gonna leave.
Yes, and I hire most of my guys that I hire. I ask more questions. I don't want to say it on here. That's something behind the scenes of the question I ask because I'm super good at it. And I hired one of my guys, Z. He been with us going on over 3 years. The question I asked him, he still lived with his mom. He was working in the mall. He just graduated high school. I asked him what was his monthly bill. Man, the dude told me $500. It was just his phone bill and little going out because he still lived with his parents. The car that he had is a Forerunner. Is paid off because his parents got him that. You gotta think about it. That is the best situation that you could hire. So somebody, it's hard to make it in life. It's right now, with everything going up, it's hard. You need somebody that's young, fresh, that still live with their parents, and they could grow with you in the company, and you could help them out in life. And I love seeing him every day. In fact, I look forward to seeing him because I've just been out of town, and I just want to say hi to him and hug him, and happy for him to be here.
Hey, you heard it first. Mike
Yeah.
invests in his people. Okay. And that's a big deal, y'all. If you're building a company, you want to build an environment that people want to come to every day. You want to build an environment where you are I believe in servant leadership, and so does Mike, right? And what that means is you're there as a leader to serve the team, to build them up, to help them achieve their dreams. Okay. It can't be about you. It's got to be about them. And when you make it about them, you're going to reap rewards, and so are they. It's reciprocal. It's a win-win. Okay. That's great, Mike. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So so tell us, how do you run 8 businesses? What's a day in the life of Mike Norm?
So, we was always like me and Mike Vu, we were always, what do you call it? Micromanagement.
Micromanaging.
We are crazy about it. Like, and that create a hostile environment when you start. keep on telling people what to do and forcing them to do stuff. And so, I had to go back and realize myself, like, the way I grew up, my dad was straight, like, if you took a wrench out of that thing, he'll go back and see if you put it up. And if you don't, you're gonna get yelled at, beat up, or hit or whatever. I mean, I grew up in that environment. And I carried that with me. I mean, how my dad, raised me, I carried that, and I need to change that. So it starts with you. You need to be a better you. You need to learn from that. So I hire all my manager, or I hire everybody in my team, my main core team. I hire them to be my boss. And why do I want to do that? Is because when my guys have a problem, they don't come to me and be like, "Hey, Mike, he's doing this." They come to the management. I don't overstep that because my manager tell me what to do. He tell me, "Hey, Mike, I need you at this meeting. You know what? We're gonna go ahead and get this dealership. Let's go ahead and set this up." That's what I need to be doing. But you don't need to be bossing anybody around, because why would you hire a manager if you still have to tell people what to do and boss them around? Like, you have to teach them the skill set. You should already have I'm big on a 3P: process, procedure, and policy. You always have to have that in place and everybody follow that. So my business, it don't matter if I get a new manager or a new guy. So AFS is run by process, procedure, and policy. It's a system that run us. You know what I'm saying?
And let's pause there for a moment, because when do you have time to develop those 3Ps, right? Like we talked about in the last episode, like you in the beginning, like you were all about tasks, okay?
Yeah.
Like I got to go do this, and I got to do that, and I got to do this, okay? And it's so difficult for it's my experience that small business owners, administration is like the last thing they want to do, right? They're burnt out from like doing the work all day, right? So when did you find time to develop your 3Ps? Okay,
I didn't.
because I think that's where you move from growth to scale, is when you
Yeah.
really start recognizing that when you develop policies, procedures, and processes, that you now have an actual business to manage.
So I lost $18,000 in December. Making some mistakes. Didn't set the expectation with the client. That and it was in December, so that was my Christmas was gone, New Year was gone. Like, I had no money to give out, buy present. At that time, I was still in a growing stage. We were living like month to month on our business. And when we made that mistake, man, I still remember it till like it was yesterday, man. You have to have that. You have to set the expectation with your clients, with your team, and you have to have term and condition. They have to have an agreement. When a customer come in, you gotta let them know, like, we're gonna put on this film. It's gonna be this dark. If you choose this film, you might not be able to see out at night. You have to set all those expectations, because if you don't, just say the customer come in and be like, "Man, I can't see at night. You either give me a refund, put a lighter film, but I'm not paying for anything." And sometimes you're at a business stage of your business where you can't really afford to replace that product that you put on. Same thing with your team. You want to know if you're hiring the right guy. I mean, you have to go through the agreement. Hey, you can't work. You can't do side work. You can't wear your baseball cap backward. You can't wear sandal to work, and you can't do a bunch of stuff like this. You can't, you know, just a bunch of.
Did
This is
you
what you have to do, and the
did you
thing
write
is,
all that stuff down on the weekends? Did you do it at night? Did you pick Mondays? Monday was your admin day. Like, time management for you as the business owner, when did you focus on developing? Because that's all paperwork, bro. What you
every
just
time I
said,
made
right?
every time I made a mistake, I said, "Shoot, we have to have this." But
Okay.
before it was just all verbal, and then
Okay.
now we got to put everything down. We're a bigger company now.
Right.
Everything got to be signed. You have to agree to everything. Like, and then I took that real seriously. And then once I did that, man, it's just flow. But you have to, in your head already, as a business owner, if somebody call and they call by a certain, just say car, and I'm a car guy, so I'll be like, "Oh no, man, that car's gonna take us more time. We gotta charge a little bit more." Or, you know what, that car got 3 sunroof, like the Lexus. And, and stuff like this is what you know, but you need to put that on paper on, certain things so your guys can know. And they need to follow this, procedure if that that come down. The same thing with, we do turf for lawn and, turf for lawn is a reflection of the building. You got to make sure we can't guarantee that the turf don't burn anymore, and
Right.
same thing with doing window tint and people home. I don't care if you put on the darkest film at night, they can see inside if there's light. And we need to let them know that. But if you don't set those expectations, you don't have your term and condition down, you're gonna go through a lot of problem in your business. And we went through all those problems, and they suck. And then now I don't go through all those problems, Like
They
there's
do.
gonna be
They
challenges
suck.
that you go through and you're just gonna have to figure it out. But if you ever want to be a $2 million company, if you ever want to gross $2 million, $10 million, whatever, just say you're at only 400,000 right now, but you want to operate and your goal is to be at 2 million. You have to have the process, procedure, policy, the system, the SOP of a $2 million company. That's the fastest way to get there because you're following that. Not be like, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. It's like, you're always, the last thing you want to do is come to work and it's always something new. You're just, putting stuff together. You're just flowing with it. You don't want to do that. We have a task management for all my main team. They have to come into work. First thing they do, all the team, they have a morning meeting. They have to. And then after that, they check their text. They check their email.
Are you in that morning meeting every day?
Sometimes. In the beginning, I was because I had to direct the meeting and I want them to go because the morning meeting only lasts 5, 8, maybe 12 minutes at the most.
Okay. What do you cover in that meeting?
So the thing that you don't want to cover is like what you ate last night, where you went last night, what you did last night. Talking about nonsense or what we're gonna eat for breakfast or lunch. We can't talk about that. But we cover what project got done, where they at on that project, and then anything else that they need. We just cover like little
So
stuff.
it's like
What
ideas,
card need to be done first.
ideas and issues. It's really your workflow. Like,
Yeah,
hey,
my workflow.
Like where are we at with the clients? Where are we
yes.
at with each car?
Yes.
These are the cars that are supposed to get out today.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's on what? What are the problems that we can solve real quick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like what's
5, 8, 10,
what's
12
going
minutes.
on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
And like
that's
everybody
it.
says what's going on. Some days it's like, man, everything's great. We're gonna get 3 of these cars out today, blah, blah, blah. But some days it's like, man, this car giving me a big problem.
Yeah.
So on and so forth. Like I got
Yeah.
a chip on the bumper. We gotta call the client, tell them we got
Yeah.
a that kind of a thing.
I mean, it's the same thing like I see at a restaurant. So just put it this way. I love the restaurant business because I see itty bitty restaurant that have a training. They have training for a small restaurant, but you don't have training for your business that's bigger than a small restaurant. Not only that, restaurant, I love them. So I follow a lot of stuff from restaurant, especially Papa Steakhouse. I follow a lot of stuff. I have a good friend that worked there, but I took a lot of stuff from that restaurant. And you need to too if you ever want to take your business to the next level. But they always have a meeting in the beginning. They'd be like, "Hey guys, the fish of the day. We got 20 Banzino fish from South America. We need to sell them. They can grill it, fry it, fillet it, whatever. We also got a dessert. And for you guys, whoever sell 20 dessert or 10 dessert that day, you're going to get this much bonus." They have that meeting every day.
Absolutely. Every day.
know?
All the Pub's restaurants.
All
I grew up in the
the,
Pub's
all the,
restaurant.
all the restaurants. So
And so then they're teaching their people how to sell. Okay. So you want everybody in your organization to be a salesperson.
Yeah.
Okay. And you would be surprised. So I worked at Papacitos, okay?
Yeah.
And Del Mar is like my favorite, right?
Uh-huh.
It's fajitas and jumbo shrimp and everything. And if you just describe something to somebody, okay, with passion, you'd be surprised at how many people will just buy that because
Yeah.
of your own passion. And I know people buy stuff from Mike just because he's passionate about it, right? Okay, like you gotta have a wad of cash to spend $8,000 to $10,000 on a full PPS situation for your vehicle. Okay. And you
Yeah.
got to understand the value in that and everything like that. And that's something that Mike's able to do. But if you can't train your team to do that, then you're always going to be stuck being the sales guy.
yeah.
Right. So that's awesome. I love that meeting. Do you have management meetings? How often do you and Mike meet?
So me and him meet all the time because we're good friends and we hang out.
Okay.
So we're always talking work. Like,
Well, so you're always talking shop.
yeah, we're
but,
always talking.
but do you have
work.
formal meetings?
Yeah, we do. With our, so we have management team,
Okay.
and we have a sales meeting,
Okay.
and then we do a team meeting a few times a year, and then we take them out bowling and stuff like that, where they, spend time. We always like do something with the guys. We take them out to SEMA, stuff like that. But we do a lot of stuff for our guys. We really love our guys. You gotta understand, like, I struggle in life. I grew up in Greenpoint. I grew up in a low social economical background. And just to be here, I still feel like it's a dream. And nothing is valuable if you didn't struggle, if you didn't grow up poor. Like, there's no value in anything. If just imagine I was 16 years old and I get a BMW, I get all these nice stuff. That's not valuable. I'll be like, man, I get that shit anyway. But then, everything is valuable for me because I had nothing. I grew up with nothing. I grew up with really good parents, and I wish they'll, have good money because they're really good parents. They would have bought me, a Lamborghini and Ferrari,
Heck yeah. So look, running out of time on this episode. It's been great, Mike. Okay, we're gonna have to go to Papa's Steakhouse and
Yeah.
have dinner here pretty soon. But I want you. I'm just getting started in business. I want to build a $10 million company, right? I want to make it. What is the number one piece of wisdom of the week here? What is the number one piece of wisdom that you have for somebody who's just getting started that wants to build a $10 million business?
Man, what I'll tell you is just to stick with, don't give up what you really want for what you want now. Don't do the stuff that I did back then. Like, man, make your money and just keep on putting it back into a business. I promise you it's going to reward you. Like right now, I can't put money back in the business because it say I don't need it. You gave us everything already. Now let us pay you back. And that's what the business did for me.
You heard it first. Don't buy stuff. Reinvest in yourself and your business until you get where you're trying to go. If you just buy stuff, that stuff turns to trash in 9 months, and then you have no cash. Like I said, if you got negative $3 in your bank account all the time, you ain't never gonna make it. You need to start stacking cash, and in the beginning, the first 3 to 5 years, reinvest all that cash into your business. Only live on what you need until you're cash flowing and you're making real money. Okay. And then you can start saving, and then you can start investing. Stop trying to be a billionaire on day one. Okay. And just focus on the little things that are going to help you. That's wisdom of the week. Thanks so much, Mike. Greatly appreciate you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and we'll see you next time.
Sponsored by Centavos. Keep more of your money.